Hello, Dr. Rahm.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm better now that I had a piece of my brownie that you got me.
I was just laughing with Priscilla. I was doing a podcast with her on the patents with Clay, and I interrupted Clay 3 times and said, "I'm going to answer this since they're," because he kept trying to answer it. I was like, "Nope." And she asked me, she goes, "How's Clay when you work on patents?" I go, "Well, let me tell you my experience with Clay in a lab." She goes, "Okay." So I'll share this with the root community. I said, the first day I was in a lab with Clay, after like 6 hours into it, I said, "You need to leave." And we weren't dating, we were working together. And he goes, "No, no, I'm going to stay in and I'm going to help." I go, "No, you're going to leave." And Clayton was laughing. And Priscilla said, "Why did you make him leave?" And I said, "Because I had to work as a scientist. I had 4 days in a lab to create a bunch of different formulations and patents." And Clayton was distracting me. And Priscilla, I think, said something like, "Oh, did you like him back then?" And I go, "I don't know." But I said, what I do know is I couldn't work in a lab with Clayton trying to talk to me. So we just went through an hour where I did a podcast and went over every question she had on nanoliquids, on zeolites, on how I made formulas. So it was the first time I've really gone over in detail. And I'll share some with the group so that they can hear it, but then they'll have to listen to her podcast because she did a really good job.
That's great. Also, coming off of this, not to interrupt you, Dr. Rahm, but yesterday we had a really positive call with the ambassadors about how to use the patents and marketing them. And
Yes.
we had, I believe it was 4 presenters,
Mhm.
and we had a Monica was the winner for her presentation. But it's just another way of we're trying to provide you methods of how you can talk about the patents in correlation with the products.
Yes, and we're going to get more into that today. Before we get into the slides, I think this will be interesting to you all. Some of the questions that were asked this morning, I have 2 patents. We talked about one last week. Of course, we have more than 2, but we focused a lot the last couple of weeks on the semi-permeable, permeable substrate patents, and now the lectin, which we've had for a long time. I fully anticipate, just so the root community knows, when these patents get out there, we will have more and more competitors that have a problem with the fact that these products have patents around them. These products have different types of characteristics than others. I want to say this, so because I think we're all smart people. I think we're all intelligent. So as intelligent human beings, as people, we know, we trust, we're aware of the fact that if people are talking bad about someone or a product, they're probably jealous or they're a competitor and they want people to go to their company. I'm fine with people using whatever products they want. I don't think you guys have ever heard me talk bad about people. I've had a lot of people, and I want to talk to you guys, and I want you to know this. Trust me. I've had a lot of people try to hurt me the last 4 years. I have tried to be destroyed more than any point in my life. I have gone through one battle after another. I don't bother you guys with it because it's way too much pressure for me. If I thought I was worrying this community about it and you guys worried about me, I wouldn't be happy with myself, because my job is not to worry you all or for you guys to think, "Oh my gosh, someone's going to hurt Christina." The truth is that's been attempted continuously. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, yes, I have patents that are different. And I want to explain this. Our land, air, and water is toxic. We've got heavy metals, we've got pollution, we've got 5G, we've had all kinds of, I'm not against the pharmaceutical and biotech or medical device industry or against innovation, but clothing, pharmaceutical products, nutraceutical, there's all kinds of innovation from manufacturing that puts pollution into our land, air, and water. It then goes into our bodies. And I want to say this isn't 1, 2, 3, or 4 generations of governments and politics. This is lifetimes of this going into our bodies, and our bodies naturally know how to clean, know how to detox. When people talk to you guys about what kind of product we have, I hope after today, and I want you guys to ask me questions, but after you learned about the patents last week, and you're going to learn more about the patents this week, I hope you guys are able to explain to people that yes, we have patents on these products, and all the processes that are used at the root products are to clean the different ingredients so they're no longer toxic. So when you put them in your body, you get rid of the negative and keep the positive. So, for example, there are liquid zeolites, there are nano zeolites that have graphene, in my opinion. Do I know that? No. Do I spend my time studying it? No, because ours doesn't. So I'm not worried, because all I care about are providing the right solutions to this community so you can help your families, you can help your children, and you can trust me, because I'm not just in this, I'm not against marketing and sales, but I am speaking to you as a specialist in an area of science that had 4 children, ended up getting cancer, and devoted her life to that and to traveling rather than retiring right now and staying home and spending money. I am going out and trying to provide solutions that have to do with our land, air, and water and our human body so that we each can have the life we want. When you see me meet with a prime minister or a president or a sheikh, I'm not meeting with them because of them. I'm meeting with them because of the people in their country. And I want to protect mothers and children and fathers and grandparents because I want them to take care of their own body. And you deserve a life where you're in control of something. And the one thing you should be in control of is your body. So when we talk about these patents, it does matter to me. And before we get into the lectin, I want to say this. I'm so thankful for all of you that are in sales and marketing or in science that are creating the messaging that we can share with the world, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's my strong suit. I think I have a strength in how I deal with people. I have a strength in how I am as a scientist, but you guys are going to have to share the message. So I want to tell everyone thank you. When we talk about the lectin, I want you to remember one thing. When I wrote these patents, I started with the premise that there's other patents that get rid of lectin, because lectin can have toxins in it that have adverse effects because it's a protein that attaches to a carb that can actually hurt your body short term, middle term, long term, and no one talks about it. But if the lectin in seeds, plants, and oils and beans and roots, if they're there and they're not being detoxed, then what is happening with it? To do that, I'm using different types of processes, and I'm getting ready to go over it with you all. But I want to point something out that you guys need to realize about these patents that I've written. When I talk about what detoxing and cleaning in the manufacturing process, I also talk about the fact that while other patents have been correct in showing how to make a formula, my formulas and my processes I'm writing are to save into things like lectin, the healthy properties. So for example, what's a healthy property about a lectin? It can be antibacterial. It can be antifungal, anti-insect. We know right now there's an issue with mosquitoes biting and viruses. So again, anti-insect, anti-tumors, anti-fungus, anti-parasites. I did not want to get rid of the components of lectin that were positive. So I want you guys to remember this about the products you have. I wrote processes that would take out the negative and keep the positive components of what was in that particular substance, molecule, isolate, substrate. And that's how our products are different. And that's why when people or scientists or doctors ask you about a nano liquid or a nano zeolite or a formulation, how we're different. Yes, we are different because we have the ability to create things that get rid of the toxic things and keep the positive. So let me just say this. If you don't understand how that works, then how do you understand someone that has cancer and undergoes chemotherapy or a treatment and they're able to get rid of cancer and live? You don't get rid of the whole person. Your goal is not to kill that person. Your goal is to help that person live the best life possible, but you need to get rid of the negative components. I'm trying to do that naturally. So hopefully not as many people have to go through radical changes through different types of procedures, understanding that I respect the healthcare community, but I need this community to understand, trust me, we are doing it different and no one else has formulas like this, and we've got to start standing up and talking about it. Okay, Patrick, I'm ready. All right, so I'm pretty passionate about this because I've realized that I have not, I felt like it was arrogant to talk about all the patents and everything that I've written, and I've changed my mind because we've got to start really making a stand. I don't need to hear false statements. We need to hear correct statements, and we need to tell the truth to the world. So we're getting ready to go over the patents, and we're going to talk about prevention. Making sure that you guys know we're not claiming that we can prevent any disease. We're not claiming that we're giving medical advice or that we're a physician or we're trying to give everyone exactly how to live their lives. We're trying to support people so they make the best decision they can through educated discussions, including patents and including publication and literature and patient registries and case studies. Again, we are not making claims to prevent, diagnose, or treat anything. We're simply talking about facts today that have been presented at the U.S. Patent Office and accepted. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our products and prevention. All right. So I'm pretty excited about the fact that we finally got this approved, just like I was excited last week when we went over the other things with you guys with the substrate and semi-permeable patents. Between those two, I feel like it shows to the world how our things are different. I think this company stepping into manufacturing as well and taking control of that process is going to be a game changer for the world. I do want to discuss a little bit. I don't want to get too scientific. I don't want to drive people crazy, but I want to educate you guys a little bit on lectins. Lectins are proteins or glycoproteins that basically attach to carbohydrates. So they can attach to fructose, for example, which is why if you read all my patents, it involves sugar. So this will help you guys understand when you guys talk to me about like Restore and the 5 grams and the fact that I use fruit and extract. And I always say to you guys, I don't think you understand the entire process of what I'm making. If you look at this patent, it involves sugar and cleaning sugar even, right? And it involves like attaching in the right way so it's no longer a negative substance for your body. The invention was pretty passionate for me because I read everything I could on lectins. I was working in a lab on a lot of different formulas, and I started understanding that I wanted to keep the positive of lectin, just like I wanted to keep a positive, the silica, out of a zeolite, but I didn't want to keep alumina silica. Like when people say to me, is there aluminum in what you're making? No, because I'm cleaning it out. And if you say to me, well, this other scientist or doctor doesn't understand that, sorry. Like my job, your job is to provide solutions to the world. And no, we're not the same as other products. No, we're not the same as other companies. They should focus on their products. They should educate their audience on what they're doing instead of attacking other people or companies, because the truth is anyone that's attacking like that is jealous. They've got an issue. They want to be like the company or the person, right? And I understand I don't look, this was brought up on 2 podcasts today, one with Pastor Dave and one with Priscilla. Maybe I don't look like a scientist. Well, what is a scientist supposed to look like? Here's what I know. This company, the Root Ambassadors, me, Patrick, Ted, Clayton, we look like people. We need to look like people that are here to provide a mission and a solution to the world. That's what we all need to look like. I hope everyone that meets me moving forward, that I change my personality to be stronger so that people understand what I really look like, what I really believe in. And I believe in what we have as a company and how we can help the world. So the present invention, I really was able to use a multi-process. And just so you guys know, Tiger knows this and Patrick doesn't. I was trying to cut different slides out of this because the process is pretty complicated that I use. It's simple, but it's complicated. It takes a while. And you guys know I use different magnets. I use different polarization. I use different heating. I use different cooling, all with the goal, again, to clean everything I'm doing so that it can go into the body and cause the body to do what it's supposed to do. Your body is supposed to detox on its own. Your kidneys, your liver, everything inside of you is supposed to clean everything out. So why do we have a 70% increase in colon cancer? Why do we have, and this is in people that have been vaccinated or not vaccinated. It's a huge problem. Why do we have a problem with cardiovascular events? Why are we up almost 70% in these areas? Mental health. It's because our bodies, you all, have become toxic. And when we put different things in the body, if they're not clean, if they're not helping with detoxing the body, they're simply clogging the body up again. So we've really got to be on this process. And that's what we really are as a root community. We are pioneers, really trying to clean everything out. Anything that's negative from a shot, anything that's negative from the environment, pollution, 5G, we're really trying to get all of it out of our bodies so our bodies can work the way it's meant to work. But when I worked on this, I kept going back to the fact that I've had cancer. And again, I'm not claiming I cure cancer. I'm not claiming anything. I was working on it. And for me, I had worked on a greens formula when I had the pituitary tumor and the spinal tumor, and I took the greens. You guys have heard my story. It was so important to me. I didn't want to get rid of every single thing in lectin. I didn't want to get rid of the positive. I wanted to protect the positive and the nutritional benefit that comes with lectin and take out all the negative characteristics. And every single patent I've written, if you guys will read them, that's what I've done. And yes, they were accepted. And yes, we should be confident in saying that less than 1% of patents written by a female have been accepted more than once. So basically only 7%. And the reason for that is they're scrutinized more. So when this got approved, you can bet on the fact that no one has written anything like this. No one has done anything like this. And we are pioneers trying to really clean people's bodies and clean out the planet. Because guess what? This patent does not just refer to a supplement. It refers to cleaning fruits, plants, tubers, leaves, bark, roots, seeds, vegetables, beans, nuts, and oils. It shows that we're isolating, purifying, and really working on it. If you look at what it got approved for, is to detox the negative characteristics and protect the positive nutritional benefits, which again, what are those? The nutritional benefits, if you just take the positive out of lectin, is antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, insecticidal. I had like 15 minutes with Pastor Dave on this today, Patrick. Physiological, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-human immunodeficiency virus. Do you know what that is, Patrick?
No.
It's associated with HIV and other viruses. So that's kind of a big deal.
I'd say so.
Anti-tumor, an allergenic, I never say it right, activity of lectin, all of that's positive, right? All of that's positive. I wanted to write something and develop a two-step system in a process that would basically protect the nutritional components that we find in all these things and get rid of all the negative things that can cause such adverse events. Because if lectin gets to be too high in your system, then when you have it, it causes multiple adverse events, psychological, mental, emotional. We know it can cause an epigenetic that can cause a disease or cause an illness, because it could actually, if you take too much lectin, did you know it can poison you and kill you? So that's how our products are different. And if you say to me, well, XYZ company has this patent too, great. I hope they do. And I don't mean that sarcastically. If we have other scientists that have figured out how to do this in a different way and it works, great. because we need as many products on this world to clean us out as quickly as possible. It has taken hundreds and thousands of years to make this world this toxic. And it just so happens we're in this world at this time. And I'm going to tell each of you on this phone call, if you don't feel called to do something positive in this time of our lives, then you're called to do something negative, because we're here now. And this world is our responsibilities, and it starts with our bodies. So it matters what we put in our bodies. It matters how we take care of everything that's inside of us. We're dying as a species if we don't do something about it. And that's why patents like this are very important. We can't claim we're doing everything to fix everything. What we're saying is we've created formulas. I've created formulas that can help people really clean out their body, but maintain the nutritional components of things like silica or things like spirulina. I could go on and on. All the different processes are put in place to do this. And again, I hope scientists read my patents and figure out an even better way. And we keep producing things for this world to make this world a better place. But at this current time, I don't know of another greens formula or seed or plant or oil formula that does that. I mean, I know, Patrick, you research a lot, and so does Tiger. Do you guys know of any formulas that have any of this in them?
No.
And I'm bringing that up to your attention because
No.
when you guys have people that are competitors that come to you, just ask them that. I mean, we're putting this on our websites. We're putting it in our marketing materials so that you guys can reference it. Let's go to the next slide, Tiger. So if you look at this invention, just so you guys know, this process, so this is going to be a little confusing to people, but when I first started working with different types of zeolites and benzenites and different types of clays and different types of crystal and different types of quartz, it was to use those to clean things, right, in the process. So there's a process of almost everything I've built upon that has to do really with getting rid of things, starting with different minerals and starting with different types of things in our earth to clean them. So another example is I use a lot of magnets. I use a lot of polarization because I'm really trying to take that particular isolate or molecule, and again, I'm trying to clean it in the lab before it ever goes to a person, understanding the components of everything that we're talking about. So it's really, really important to me that you guys understand it, because then I really think if this group community can understand this, when you guys get text or emails or you see something on the internet, you'll be able to have a discussion on this that is intellectual, that is understandable. So let me stop right now and ask you this, Patrick. When people did the videos yesterday, did you feel like it was explained enough so that they understood how to respond as far as how our products are made?
I think everyone has a way in which they can tailor the conversation based off of the questions that maybe somebody that they're talking to ask. And I think that's what was super beneficial for yesterday, so that a lot of, and I don't want to talk about sales aspects, but when you have somebody that pushes back on something that you might be telling them about, giving them another method of explaining why the product is so important, why it's so significant of what we're doing that's completely different than anybody else in the industry is such a huge deal.
It is, and you're not making claims. So I think what's really important for you guys to understand, and that's why all this needs to be translated, this is a patent in the process of how the products were made, right? Just like Clean Slate and Clean Spirits, it's the process of how it was made. We're not making claims. We just need to port to the patent and what the patent did when I was making the products. And then you can ask, do you guys have a patent around your products that's actually cleaning out the lectin and making sure the leaves are green? So Restore's the same way. Again, if you guys look at our products, and I didn't write this in enough, and I should have. It may have been in another component. I'm trying to remember because this is a long patent. I also turned it around into vitamins and minerals and how we clean those. Everything I've done, I keep doubling down on everything because I'm using these processes to make sure that they're made correctly. Now, if you ask me, again, are other people using them? Possibly. People could have possibly at this point in manufacturing learned from what I've done and produced other things in this area. But before I wrote the patents, the answer is no. No one was able to do this. Let's go to the next slide, Patrick or Tiger. I just want to go over this a little bit. I know this is a lot of information. I want you guys to feel proud of the fact that our products have patents. I want you to refer to that. I want to make sure that you can discuss it without making a claim. And that's why if you put directly from the wording in the patent, there's nothing we can do wrong because we're not claiming. We know that lectin, and the way I did the process, I left in the components that can help with the negative things, like the anti-tumors, the antifungal, but we're not claiming that we're getting rid of fungus and everything. We're not claiming we can get rid of every tumor. But what we are claiming is I left the components in that could help with those nutritional benefits, right? I got rid of the negative that are in lectins that can cause death and can cause toxicity. Actually, get this, lectin actually really impacts heavy metals and it clogs the system so you can't release the heavy metals. So you got all these people that are taking these products that supposedly are getting rid of heavy metals, but yet they're taking nutritional supplements that have lectin everywhere in it. So they're not able to detox or clean as effectively as they should, whether they're using Clean Slate or another product, whether they're going through like chelation or something else. They've got to make sure they're looking at everything and not just one component of cleaning and detoxification. If you look at this, the method involves a lot of different things that have aqueous solutions. I even used a mixing of ammonium and sulfate. When you guys read this, I need you to understand, I'm not putting that in the products. I'm using it to clean certain components of the product so that they're safe for everything. I'm basically dialysizing. So, you know, when you go through dialysis, you're cleaning the kidneys. I'm doing that with plants and seeds and oils. So I make sure that I clean them so that they're working a lot more effectively. And that's the easiest way I can really explain it. This method also, just so you guys know, works on the digestive reaction process. So I went into the body digesting this. Something I have not explained to this community is I have always really been into the microbiome and into the GI. So when I'm producing things, I'm looking at what are the pH levels, what are the acid levels, how are people digesting this product, and then I'm trying to create a reaction so it's positive, so you can have a pH balance and a microbiome that's healthy in the body, understanding that if you don't, it can cause Alzheimer's and cardiovascular events and cancer and everything else. So I really tried with this patent to also work on the digestive process so that when people take it, their body is able to make it more bioavailable. And I do tell you guys that I'm trying my best so the body's accepting it and using the best components it can while I'm getting rid of the negative components. And this is not I use micro and macro. So this is something else I need to tell you all. Because your body is composed of so many parts, I look at Dalton size and I look at how I'm creating things to go into the body so the body can use it effectively. And that does not mean I'm putting nanoparticles or I'm using any kind of graphene or I'm holding on to this, nothing. I want to ask everyone, as a mother of 4 that's had cancer and Lyme disease, what benefit would it be for me to have a platform where I can produce something and then try to do something negative? And again, if someone else is a scientist, because here's what I'm going to say, these people that are talking and answering questions about our products, please don't come to me unless they really are scientists that have gone into a lab and actually worked on things and done it. We can't just have gossip and hearsay. We've got to make sure we maintain a positive attitude and we continuously educate people. And I know this is hard for you guys to do. I want to support you with that because you have got to become into a place where you feel confident and understand how these products are different than other brands. And this is why this is important for you guys to understand this. Let's go to the next slide. So um, I want to stop before we get into the prevention of healthcare and ask if we have questions, Patrick, about the patents.
Say that again, Dr. Ram.
I want to see if anyone has any questions about the patents or anything that I've
Uh,
said at this point.
There's been a lot of comments in the chat just asking, but you've pretty much hit it. And also a couple other people are chiming in about from the call yesterday and also the Renault RPS call that we had where we went in a little bit on the patent. So from now, I think we're in a good place.
Perfect. And guys, listen, I don't expect everyone to be scientists. I don't expect everyone to understand everything I'm saying at all, just like I don't understand how to work on a car or I don't understand sometimes how to even find directions. You know, we're all different. But I do want you guys to understand about these products. I think it's very, very important that a scientist made these products to help clean things out and then support things. I'm not going to get in, just so everyone knows, and Patrick, Nurse Christy, all of us, you got to know this. If you look at the patents, I do go into the entire process. Patrick, I had Tiger cut that because I'm not going to go down a route that won't help people by getting into scientific components that could confuse everyone, if that makes sense. I can't do that because we lose our passion and our direction. And our direction is understanding the basic facts about this so that we can educate others, so that everyone has the best opportunity to have the healthiest life possible and to be as great as possible. So during the doctor to doctor, if some of these people want to come on or you want to ask questions on the doctor to doctor call, I can get into more scientifically about things. But for the purpose of these calls, I really want to just really impart to you all, because I haven't in the past, really what we're approved to do as far as patents and really what I've done with the formulations. Most scientists at companies would never do this. I'm just going to say that. This is not a typical conversation that happens within companies, but I would love for you guys to ask the people that are criticizing you or that have different discussions on liquid zeolites. We're not a liquid zeolite. On nanoparticle zeolites, we're not that. Like, we're not any of that. Our relive grains compared to other grains, our peptides, because I use this process with peptides. So everything we're doing, again, goes back to what is the process, how is it made? And I'll use one more example before we go on. One of the top chefs, and I talked about this, I think, yesterday, in our country is someone named Kat Cora. And she was the first 2 Michelin star restaurants, first female to be a major chef in a Michelin star restaurant, won the Iron Chef, top chef in the world, Singapore restaurant in Germany. She has restaurants all over. She broke record after record. She did so many discussions about how does she take ingredients that are basic ingredients and make them different than other people. And part of her process, just so you guys know, is in cleaning the different products that she works on, the different ingredients, and making sure they're as pure as possible so they taste completely different and they offer more nutritional benefits. That's not questionable. She's been rated against all the top people in the world and won. She won because she was so different in how she created it. And what you guys need to feel good about is you have products that are helping your body, that go into your body, that were cleaned from the negative toxins, and that kept nutritional benefit to support your body. Because again, I'm going to go back to this. Our bodies were made to prevent illness. We're talking about preventative healthcare today. Our bodies were made to really get rid of things in our body that are inside of us. Most medical doctors have taken a class in anatomy. Some nurses have, some haven't. Most medical doctors, just so you guys know, have never worked in a lab. They're not scientists, they're medical doctors. Same with nurses, same with nutritional. There's nothing against that. They're experts in their area, but please don't listen to someone that hasn't spent their life going to school and studying things like this and working on this. Please listen to the experts. And yes, I do think I'm an expert. I think that I've been way too laid back and I haven't talked about it enough. I think it's really important that we listen to not just marketing and sales, but we also listen to the science side of what we're doing. Okay, so let's go into the preventative healthcare. I just want to say this to you guys. It's really important to me when we look at this genetic testing. Patrick, I'm going to get a gauge on this. How far are we away from really launching everything with the genetic test? And I know I keep asking every week.
Probably, well, we're now working on a lab in Europe that might get quicker results to all of our European customers. There's some hiccups with sending the finished test back to America, which is going to
Yeah,
prolong testing results. So I have
yeah,
a call tomorrow morning with the Europe lab to potentially see if that might be a benefit to increase the response time. So everything is done with the product recommendation, which you saw those slides, which are amazing. That's
yeah,
awesome. So
yeah.
now it's just getting the results translated into German and then seeing about this European lab. So I'm hoping soon. I know
Perfect.
it's not an exact answer, but soon.
Okay, I need to get that. I don't want to forget this because of Kat. I need to get that stuff from you today. I couldn't pull it all up yesterday. Anyway, we'll get into it later. My computer crashed last night. Stephanie was here with me, so my emails. You know how this happens every 6 months. I'm like, whatever. I spent all night on that. But I want to tell you guys, I am so. I can tell like I've laughed a lot lately. I've been happy. I'm extremely excited about our ability to have this genetic test. Listen, to be able to look at prevention, and again, in these countries, as a nutraceutical company, we can't claim prevention, but what we can say is we are trying to participate in population management in a good way, not a negative way, because population management can mean you're trying to get rid of people of a certain age or you're not paying attention to them. When I use it, when I speak on it, whether I'm at a economic forum or with a government or with a religious group, here's what I say. Every single person deserves to live. Every single person deserves to have the best life possible. I do not believe in a government or economy or person not letting an individual make a personal choice. But what we've got to do as an organization is empower people so that they understand there are different strategies. When the shots came out and the vaccinations, the government's moved towards making that preventative health care. I want this community to move from that. Listen, I don't want to start a war. Here's what I want to do. I want to help us heal our countries, not just from a physical perspective, but an emotional, mental, economic perspective as well. And so what that means is we've got to double down on analytics, on diagnostics like genetic tests, like looking at platforms like the patient registry, and then we've got to help people make the best personal choice for their life so they can live as long as possible, so they can have quality of health, so they can use the most cost-effective things. And I believe analytics like genetic testing, especially the ones that we're using, will help us get there as populations, as countries. Let's go to the next slide. So go back to, role of nutrition. I hate the fact that in every country, we're not allowed to say prevent, because in my opinion, nutrition and supplements and food are all about that. But the rule is a rule. So I have to be very careful how I talk about it. In my mind, every individual's goal is to have great management so that their body, so their immune system prevents any disease, right? That's our goal. We want to make sure we have the right weight because we understand if we weigh too much that we get sick. But that's complicated. Let's be honest with each other. How do we have disease prevention and weight management when we have all these toxins in the world that have been around us for so many years? How do we get rid of that and then support our bodies, which I think is the whole mission of what this community is doing. We also in preventative healthcare want to look at the immune system, make sure that it's strong. This goes back again to disease prevention. We also, of course, look at the nutritional factors with mental health and cognitive function. And you guys know that I have focused a lot on this. You have focused a lot on this. which is why we've grown the Trinity, because we're really trying to support people's life. Not saying we can prevent things, but we want them to have the best healthcare possible and the best bodies possible. And then the last slide, which is very dear to my heart, is the digestive health. This is extremely important. We are at a tipping point right now. I did a podcast where we talked about the mosquitoes and what they're carrying in viruses. I was with Pastor Day. We also talked about the monkey virus that's going around. We also talked about the bird flu. He was asking me what I thought. And I said, here's what I think. I think these are things that have come to a boiling point. I think we have all these issues and we're all scared. And here's what I think. We have to double down on supporting our bodies. Take out of our bodies what we don't need, support our bodies so we get what we do need. And I feel like our whole product line is aimed at making people as great and as good as possible with the current bodies they have, regardless of the diagnosis, because everyone deserves the right to live. Everyone deserves the right to have the best healthcare possible. I don't care if you have autism, if you have cancer, if you have multiple sclerosis, you deserve the best life possible. And that's what the products are meant to do. Let's go to the next slide. So key components of a healthy diet. And I think this is important because another thing that I don't know if you guys caught when I was talking about the lectin patent is lectins are proteins, right? And they bind to carbs. Part of the thing is if you can create a protein or you can clean a protein that makes it healthier, that the carb is the main source, that's a goal. So I tell people this all the time, and I have to be really careful because I don't want to say like I'm claiming this or claiming that. If I don't take relive grains, it's a major problem for my stomach. And I'm like Patrick, I'm like Ted, I have problems. My husband doesn't understand it. Clayton does not understand because he has his genetic test back. He isn't gluten intolerant. I think part of that, I'll be honest with you all, is that he has spent his life detoxing. He comes from a veterinarian practice. They have preached that to him his whole life. So his body's really healthy. I mean, really. But for me, I'm not as healthy as Clay. I've traveled all over the world. I say this to you guys all the time. I did not want to be vaccinated. I had to go into countries before this pandemic happened. I was really against it because I didn't want to put all that stuff in my body. But I had this mission to really help with healthcare throughout the world. But my body, I think the macronutrients in my body need to be further cleaned. And that's why for me, using Clean Slate and Restore and Relive grains and Crush and Sculpt are so crucial to me. I think it's so important that the carbs, the proteins, and the fats all work together. And if your fats, just so you guys know, are dirty and they're infiltrated, or your proteins and your carbs, then that doesn't give you the micronutrients you need. And that's one of our big issues. And that's one of the reasons we have all this problem with the microbiome and with different types of cancer. So we've really got to help our bodies clean out. And then the micronutrients are so important because of metabolism, just so you guys know. And all of that is found in fruits and vegetables and fortified foods. And just so you guys know, I don't love fortified foods. I like fruits and vegetables. And this is another thing that I think most people don't understand when they ask me if they can take the products. A lot of our products are just fruits and vegetables, or the seeds or the oils from that. That's why when you guys ask me questions of, can I take this if, or can I take this when? Sometimes one of the questions I want to ask is, well, do you eat strawberries? Do you eat blueberries? Because basically there are products we have like Relive and Restore where I'm cleaning things out and then giving you the best source possible so you can put it into your body so you do get the micronutrients, so you do get the macronutrients and they're working right. And then the other components that are so important are the fiber. And again, I want to say this, it comes from whole grains, fruit, vegetables. We have the patents that clean those out and then help keep the good parts of those components so that your body can use it. Let's go to the next slide. So the next slide is going to talk about dietary supplements. And I just want to say this because I was on a podcast earlier I referenced, and they talked about other nutraceuticals, which I didn't have a problem with at all. And if you ask me, did I think those nutraceuticals were as good as ours? No. But do I think they could be used with our products? Yes. And am I going to talk bad on a podcast because I think ours are better? No. Instead, my goal is to educate so we can help as many people as possible with their personal choice. And that means telling them the truth. And that means not lying. And there's a lot of people out there that are acting like experts that aren't. So we need to be the experts that are telling the truth, because people deserve the truth. You cannot get upset with governments about not telling people the truth if you personally don't. And that's why I think we have a goal and a role of really sharing the truth, because you do need certain supplements in the body, because our bodies are not using what we have on this earth as effectively as it used to. And I would argue that even 200 years ago, supplements would really help people. I mean, my family, my mother's family, were Cherokee and Choctaw Indian, and I've discussed this before. A lot of the stuff they got were from herbs or seeds and plants, and back then our earth wasn't as toxic. But fast forward, we can't get all of the things that we need just from the current food. So taking certain supplements are really important. And I want to go down to dosage and nutrient balance. Everybody's dosage and balance is different. That's why I feel like the genetic test is so important, because I feel like it looks at the balance in the body. It also looks at the individual needs. Do I feel like I'm getting what I need out of our products without a genetic test? Yes. But I think the genetic test can even raise your elevation of who you are as an individual to a new level, so that you have a better understanding of the whole picture of this amazing body that we each have. So the next slide talks about popular dietary supplements. Guys, I get all kinds of things from you all about calcium or vitamin D or iron or vitamin C or vitamin B, because we have all those vitamins in our products. Like in Relive Greens, you got everything in there. It's just not on the label, but we did a slide deck, and hopefully we have it posted, Patrick, where we talk about everything embedded in the product. But I'll say this, we really, really need to understand that not all vitamins are not the same. What process are they using? How are they cleaning them? How are they making them? Same way with mineral substances. Like people tell me, well, wait a minute. In Clean Slate, it says vitamin C, it says trace minerals, and it says silica. I'm like, yeah, but how? Because it's in there. Well, why isn't aluminum in there? Because it's not an aluminum. I cleaned it, took it out in the lab, right? So let's be smart about that. Let's answer that, and let's have confidence when we talk about it. And if you guys need me to do a podcast like I just did with Priscilla, and I did earlier this morning as well, put me on it. Let's talk about it. Herbal and botanical supplements, which I would tell you guys, we already know this. We are really a botanical herbal company. We really do work with things that are known, their properties are known to be anti-inflammatory, which is why it's so frustrating to me that we can't make claims, because I understand that if you use black cumin seed and turmeric curcumin, like all those ingredients packed in Restore, all those ingredients packed, I know Patrick knows this, in immune defense shield and crush, they're so instrumental to the body. We go above even a typical dietary supplement. We go into the peptide line, not just as an IV, but as a formulation and NAD, guys, that will go into the body and help us stabilize it. And we even have a skincare line coming up that does that as well. Let's go to the next slide. The benefit, though, of all these supplements is what really matters. Like at the end of the day, I could have 1 million patents. We could have 1 million products. If they don't help people, we didn't do anything good. And when I say people, that's starting with our own life, right? Because believe it or not, I really do care about my life. I care about my husband. I care about my children. I care about my friends. I care about the people I work with. I care. I want them to have the best life possible. And I know you guys do too. Your dietary supplements are there to fill the gaps so that you can really help your body, because knowing that we're not getting what we need from the food we eat or the environment we have, we've got to take it into our own lives. And we really have to be experts on our body and on what we put in and out of our body. There is evidence benefits for some of them. Like we know, everybody knows that vitamin D supplements can prevent osteoporosis. We know zinc And vitamin C can help with viruses and colds and everything else, right? We know that. So we double down on that evidence. However, I want to say this again, not all vitamins and minerals are created the same. So you just have to make sure you're taking the right nutraceutical supplement. It's really important. It's as important as if you choose to take a pharmaceutical, you better know about it. You better know the side effects, and you better make sure that it doesn't have adverse effects that can hurt you. Same with supplements. It's really important. Where I get continuously frustrated is if someone's on our product and then 3 weeks later they get a cold or something, they blame the products. Guys, people are going to get sick, but guess what? You can be stronger if you're using the right products that really support this amazing body. And I think that's where you guys have a hand above everyone else. I think you're way above the curve on that. Next slide. So we're going to talk about nutraceuticals. You know, nutraceuticals, this is so funny. I remember pharmaceuticals for me was, you know, typical. Nutraceuticals, I just thought of them because of my family as herbs and vitamins and minerals and stuff like that, because we would take it from the land. You know, we grew up on a farm. That's what we did. We were able to really understand it. When I started getting into the isolates of different oils and different plants and how I could work with them, I became fascinated. My great-great-grandmother was a shaman, which is a spiritual and medical expert in the tribes, in the Native American tribes. And that's something I always lean on, because I'm like, she genetically probably prepared me for that. But I really was interested in the components of that. And here's the problem that happens with nutraceuticals, in my opinion. They're not regulated. You can have a manufacturing plant or a lab and just throw stuff together and pull it out there. Most people don't understand labels, and they think that if it's on a label, then it's just the same as another product, and it couldn't be further from the truth, because it's like a pharmaceutical, or it's like a medical device, or it's like farming, or it's like cooking, and pick a topic. It's like being a mechanic for a car. You really need an expert that knows what they're doing and is really passionate and really cares about implementing changes to this world, because the composition of nutraceuticals can include so many extracts and so many components, but what really matters is you're providing the nutrition to people so that their body works as effectively as possible. Next slide. So integrating nutrition and supplements, when you guys talk to different people and you're out there, you're going to see, and I do not want to be the prophet of bad information or negative. There's a lot of stuff happening, which is why you see a lot of people getting sick right now. There's a lot of viruses going around. It's hitting, like I said, a boiling point right now. I haven't even had time to talk to Patrick and Ted and Clay. I've had so many conversations this morning with different entities about this, and that I was called early in the morning. And it really is something. And then the questions are asked to me, Christina, what products would you take to really help the body in combating that? And I want to go back to what I've told you guys the whole time. When you're fighting a virus or a bacteria or a fungus or parasites, they're going to try to take over the body. You got to provide the blockade, starting with the skin, starting with this outerwear and the skin, and then the inside of the body at the same time. You're creating these barriers of protection to be smarter than anything that comes into the body. You need targeted support. When we talk about enhancing performance for athletes, because we know we're great at that, right? We know that we have a lot of athletes on our products. We know that they're doing fantastic. We have them across all sports. But guess what? If it works for them, it's going to work for you, because you need to enhance performance daily. There is nothing more powerful than you. Human capital. I had a good friend of mine the other day. She actually came in the office and read something about people using humans for energy. And she asked me if that was true. And I said, 100% it can be true. We are the largest source of energy that there is. You are so very important. So you've got to really enhance your body. And I really feel like that's why what root products are for. I love the fact that Clay says it's greatness. It's enhancing, right? It's making you as great as you can be. And then your body becomes stronger, and you're able to take a stand and really be an example for other people. Next slide. So the conclusion is you really do need to understand supplements. Not all supplements are the same. You need to focus on your diet. You need to have balanced nutrition. And I feel like our root products really have done a great job of providing those for people. You need to stay educated. Guys, the reason I'm so careful and the reason I never make claims, I don't claim to cure anything, I don't claim to do anything, is because I'm protecting this environment. I'm protecting people. I've already had to go through enough stress because of the patents I've written and what I've done throughout the world. So the last thing I want to do is impart that on this community. So I'm extremely careful. And I know people get really frustrated when you guys hear me say, we can't give medical advice. It's only, I'm adamant because I want to protect you all. Does that mean I can listen and tell you an opinion? And I don't mind doing that. And I've done that for a lot of people in this community. But what I want you to know is, we all die at some point. Our goal has got to be the best person that we can be and to impact the best changes and to actually enjoy our life while we're here and to be positive and to create dynamic changes. And we can do it and we will do it if we decide we want to. So we've got to be stronger about what we have. We have to be confident, and that includes starting with me. So if you noticed, I'm taking a bigger stand because I realize that by being strong, I may be attacked more, but I also realize that you all deserve leadership that's willing to make a change and willing to stand up. And I deserve that too from this community, and I get it every day. And I want to thank you guys for that. I appreciate everything you do. We have another contest we're rolling out. We launched one on RPS. And then we're launching one about the lectins. I want at least 5 volunteers that can talk about the lectin patents and what they mean. So we need to, have you chosen 5 yet, or do we need to choose them today, Patrick?
No, we can choose them today. Let's go.
Let's go. Is Dr. Fadwa on here?
I thought I saw her before. I think
I see her beautiful face. I owe you a call. I love Dr. Fadwa's heart. We were talking about the elderly population and how we need to make changes. So I want to step up and make some of those changes with Dr. Fadwa, because one of my passions, which I haven't discussed with the root community, since I was little, I would go to nursing homes. And it was one of my favorite places to be because I loved playing cards and playing games and being around the elderly people, and I still do. So anyway, I just want to give a shout out to her. She's amazing. She's working with us on products. I'm trying to get her to work with us even more. And her advancements in pharmacokinetics and in as a PharmD are actually one of the top in this country and in the world. So I want to make sure that I let this community know that you're very fortunate to be able to work with her.
That was sweet.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Didn't want to unmute without permission, but I wanted to say thank you.
You always have permission to unmute, Dr. Fadwa.
I wanted to say thank you. And I just wanted to encourage all the ambassadors. As a matter of fact, this morning, I did a live roaring right next to you, Dr. Rahm. What you are doing is for such a time as this.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time. It's for such a time as this. And as many of you go through the patents, I still have to go through the patents. I'm trying to finish a paper.
I really want you to go through them because you're going to be able, Dr. Fadwa, to explain it, because it's really, this, it's hard when you write them and you do them. So I'm really looking for you to help us do podcast, explain it. We need to get out there in the public and really start talking about it. I'm shocked, to be honest. All these patents are getting approved. I'm so thankful, and I credit God. I really do for that, because it could have been the opposite. So I really need your help with that, because your background, and I don't know if this community understands this, but her background is taking pharmaceutical products and telling doctors what to do and what they can use and what they can't use and what's good for people and what isn't good. That's not what doctors go to school to do. They go to diagnose and treat, and they're experts at that. They're wonderful. But her job, her expertise is telling them what to use. And that's why she understands when I talk about each kind of oil is different. Each kind of plant is different. So that's why I need her expertise with the patents, because I think she can really help. So I hope you raised your hand too, to be one of the people that talks about the patents, Dr. Fadwa.
Okay, I'll add that to my plate. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'd love to do it.
No, but I would like you to like do, because what we're doing, we're trying to like get people, and I really need people from different countries, guys. And I saw Dr. Ann, we need these doctors and scientists to be able to explain it.
Give me, I'm trying to find them.
For sure, Dr. Rahm, for sure.
And I would like to send Monica and Dr. Fadwa and Nurse Christy a bottle of Reno, please, Patrick, because they've helped me a lot lately, and I really appreciate it, you guys.
Say those
So
names again.
Monica,
Got it.
Monica, our health expert in Slovenia, and our workout queen, and then Dr. Fadwa and Nurse Christy, because they've been helping. And then send one to Dr. Ann too. So we've got those 4 sent out.
Got it.
Thank you guys for everything you all are doing. And I'll do more next week, but if we could have at least, like I said, 5 of these people, including Dr. Fadwa, I already volunteered her, and Monica, I need them coming up with, along with you guys, how we talk about this. If you guys need information on the patents, or you need the summaries. So I basically took, Tiger has summaries, Canuck, who works in our manufacturing, has summaries that help explain them. If you get in, just because all you guys know, it goes into a lot of scientific, like what I did in the lab, right? But you guys, if you could take that and explain it to people about our products and how we're different, that would really help.
Amazing. I have everyone that's raised their hands. So we'll do it just like we did this week. On Monday, we'll do another ambassador presentation on the lectin patents. Excuse me. And we'll present that to the community so that we are giving everyone an opportunity to understand the different ways in which how we can talk about why the products that Dr. Rahm has formulated are so different from what anyone else in this industry is doing.
And I thank you, Patrick. And then I want to do clean spirits next week, the alcohol metabolism. And I want to explain this to everyone because I want you to know I would never encourage people to drink. I want this whole community to know that. I don't ever encourage anyone to drink or do anything negative for their body that's perceived as negative. But I did do patents for rehabilitation clinics that focused on the organs of the body and really helping strip out not just alcohol, but other things. So I would like to discuss that with the community next week. And then I would like to start going into the white papers. I may have Dr. Fadwa or Dr. Ann or Nurse Christy or another doctor help me, Marina, with those literature reviews. Because again, guys, when I write it, I really would like some of the scientists and doctors to help explain it. And I can be on the call, but it helps me to have you guys and your voice and your opinion. So it's not just me. So we've got the people for next week, right, Patrick?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I just realized this though. I may have to pre-record and have one of the someone else do some of the call. I could pre-record the patents. Next week, I'm going to Mexico. As you guys know, we're launching Mexico. We have a lot of it done, but we have a lot more work to do. And then I go to South Carolina. Just to update anyone else who's on the call, I go to South Carolina and then I go to New York because we are doing a fashion show where we're raising money for animals and for nonprofits all over the world. So every dime we will raise will go back to humanity for humanitarian services. I have not done a good job in the past at explaining that to you all. Last year at our fashion show, we raised almost $1 million that went to animal and humanitarian services all over the world. And Patrick knows this. We led that. We're leading it this year. So when you guys see all the pictures where it looks like it's so great and everything, it's a lot of work, but everything we give back. And so I did want you guys to know that.
Yes. All right. I think that puts a bow in it. Hopefully everyone learned something, but I hope you have a blessed rest of your week.
Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Bye, everybody.